Hello, I'm the Nomad 756 with Zero Access Games, here with the return of the solo LP of Dark Souls 2. Today, right now, we're going to be
Just
to
speak
start
up
off
if
with.
you're in need of
gonna,
miracles.
oh,
Here.
okay. Anyway, a few things to start off with. I was trying to record a bit earlier
No
today,
need for miracles.
but unfortunately, I got
The
interrupted,
gods
and
frown
mid-interruption,
upon such soul scrimpers.
fuck you. I was talking to Alicia of Lindell while I was recording, and unfortunately, I got a message from a friend and had to interrupt my recording. So we're not going to be talking to Alicia at all, because I've already talked to her, and I've already got to move to the area where progression, the area where she will help us progress later on. Instead, we are going to go straight on to Nomad's Wharf. Yay! Get a monastery charm. That's just a healing item that cures poison, which is kind of useful. You get a few of them through the game. You may notice a few things about the character, some new armor, a new shield. We just grabbed some stuff from the other areas of the Forest of Fallen Giants. Nothing too important. One of those... Whoa. One of those just sort of detours off-screen things that we're doing. And, we're going to be going through the sewers, of course, first. We're still technically in highest Tower of Flame right now. But we are going to be picking up a few things in this little section and in this episode that will help us quite a bit. Including the weapon we're going to be taking through pretty much the rest of the game. The main weapon, anyway. Swing. Of course, I'm using the Bastard Sword. It's a great sword as opposed to a long sword, which was the... I don't think I have the Fire Long Sword equipped. So it does more damage, but it's heavier. You know, it's got its advantages and disadvantages. 2 souls. And an Old Knight Halberd. The Old Knight gear is garbage. It has decent damage, and I think it's very heavy and very low durability, so it won't last you long. But it has decent damage at the very least. I'm not a big numbers guy. Oh, I didn't see that coming. I don't quite like this area that leads up to No Man's Wharf because it's just sort of meh. It's just narrow corridors. It's just fighting the same dudes in narrow corridors. Which, you know, I think they did to eliminate the effectiveness of circle strafing. But it's still the single most effective strategies for these guys. And you can just wail on them. Of course, with the Bastard Sword, I'm taking 4 hits to take them down. Going with the Great Sword in Dark Souls is sort of a double-edged sword. Haha. In that it, you are most of the time slower. I'm just going to... no, we can do Estus. There's nothing here. Oh, there's something here. Just splash it all over our face, because I don't know how it's getting through there. Because, most all great swords are slower, than, long swords, and just generally heavier, and, you know, there's a lot of disadvantages to going through a greatsword build, but more to talk about later on that. A few other things. I cached a few boss souls to speed up the level progression. We got our strength up to 20, and we did some other stuff, did some Vit stuff. I think I did that on screen, I'm not sure. And that's pretty much all we have to say until we get to the new area, really, that sort of needs to be said. The rest is just... okay, yes, this is where we're going to get the first of some very useful items. Oh, yeah. Now this is a more interesting way of fighting these guys. Eliminating your speed with the water handicap. I think it's really cool. Unfortunately, I am now done with fighting these guys in water forever. Because I just killed the only one you ever have to fight in water, ever. Yay, they did a cool thing. No, you go up here, you go across to the right, I believe. And, yep, here we are. We're going to get a very good armor set. Come on, coming up. And we get the knight armor. Now we're just going to quickly equip this because this is a good armor set. We're wearing the Dranglake set, which has higher defense stats, but much higher weight. This actually puts us under 50% weight, and we can probably wear the whole set and still stay under 50. Or just above 50. So this is obviously a much more useful piece of armor set as it's lighter. For our purposes, it's better. It's better for our purposes because we're going to be carrying a very heavy weapon. So we want to keep our armor as light, but as strong as possible. We're actually going to be switching this armor out fairly soon. Probably do that off screen because it's a bit of a hard thing to do. For now, the night set will serve us well. The night set will do its job for now. Just go over here, and there's a hole in the wall, and... Oh, yeah, we're going to meet one of my favorite NPCs in this game. Sweet. So just go through the dank, dark caves. Through the I forget what the... I don't know. I ain't no geologist. Lucatiel, what's up, buddy? Nothing much?
I don't know you, and you don't know me.
Oh, okay.
Things are better that way.
Okay. I'm gonna keep bothering you. Oh, pardon me.
You are an odd one.
I'm pretty odd and cool.
I believe people keep a safe distance when they see this mask.
Interesting.
I'm called Lucatiel.
Keep the mask on,
In the
babe.
land of Mirath,
Keep the mask
far
on.
east, across the mountains. They say Drang Lake brims with powerful souls,
I know what you're talking about.
and so I came to claim my share. But what a strange place. Even the rumors did not prepare me.
Well, no, I doubt they prepared you for much of what's going on. Let me talk to her one more time, I think?
You are an odd one indeed.
Yeah, here it
I've
is.
always made a point of avoiding
I'm
you,
pretty odd.
while you've made a point of engaging me.
Because I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy.
I can see that you are mid-journey. If you require assistance, I will help you.
Well, thanks a bunch,
I
Lucatiel.
come from Mira, a land of knights. My sword is always ready.
Indeed it is. I'm sure it
Don't
is.
hesitate to
My
call
sword's ready
upon
right
me.
now, girl. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever
You know what I'm
happens,
saying?
I won't
Know what I'm saying?
be
Ha ha. Sexism. Yeah, so that's Lucatiel. Arguably the best NPC in this game. And now she's gone. Oh. Because she is one of the few NPCs that has a plot line and that you meet out in the world. And she's the best one of those. The few that exist. Fucking trying to hide from me. Now this is a really interesting area. No Man's Wharf. I freaking love the ideas that go into this area. Even though it is still sort of a generic area when you get down to the design and the enemies, for the most part, I really love this area because one, it's going to give us a weapon that will be our main through the rest of the game, and two, the way the enemies interact with each other is something I wish this game did more. You see, these guys are the Vegarians, I believe they're called. They're pirates basically, and you'll notice I'm getting hit with flaming arrows. Those things that the big barbarian dudes are tossing at me are oil bombs. When they hit me, I get covered in oil and I have to shake it off, for lack of a better term, or get it to drain away. But if I get hit with a flaming arrow before I can do that, I explode and they do tons of damage. It's really interesting. I don't think there's enough of this in this game, where enemies interact, like two different kinds of enemies who, you know, you can meet elsewhere. I think the Vegarians are only here, but these guys, you know, they're not particularly challenging, any more challenging than they were in the Forest of Fallen Giants. Varangian, I think was it said there. You know, you meet these guys in the Forest of Fallen Giants, and they're not much more difficult here, but they interact with the standard enemy of this area in a new, interesting way that makes them a bit more of a challenge, which I think is really interesting, and this game doesn't do enough of. Which, and just to be fair, that's a complaint I also have with Dark Souls 1. There isn't enough of that either, of two kinds of enemies sort of interacting in strange ways beyond just they do different kinds of damage or they have different attack windows. Like, that's really how it goes in Dark Souls for the most part. We'll show him off. This is the Dark Dweller. He inflicts bleeding and is a bitch. But I call him the Spider Monkey. Not particularly difficult with a large sword, but I've never fought them with a large sword before. I don't think I can hit them now. Sorry. Oh no. We don't want to fall in... Oh no. We may be trapped here. Oh, what did he give us? Tattered cloth hood. I think they give us the tattered cloth. Oh no, not trap. Yay. Yeah, so those are spider monkeys. Real easy on their own. He wasn't particularly difficult. But there's a section a bit later on, getting to the weapon we want, that makes them a bit of a bastard to fight. First we got this figurine in here. Now, something I also like about No Man's Wharf, despite its visual, sort of its generic visuals, is that it's got a lot of shortcuts and multiple layers and different paths and lots of really cool stuff. We just got a ring of life protection. That ring basically means that... That ring there basically means that, we don't lose our souls or our humanity, but it breaks. But we can repair it. I think I got the Ring of Restoration off screen. That was just another Forest of Fallen Giants thing. It does a very slow health regeneration, which we can put it on now, I suppose. You could probably barely see it. It's very slow. And I know, I realize there's been resolution issues with some of the earlier episodes. I'm working on fixing that, but, you know, these things, they take time. Oh, no. Okay, yeah, that's another big problem with that big overhead. It's a problem that presents itself with our weapon that we're going to be using. It goes to where your trigger goes, not to where you're locked onto, so you can often have a situation where you completely miss a target. Whoa. So of course, because I was just pressing forward there, it went forward. But if I was, yeah, if I do it to the side, I do a big. Oh, and the second swing. This isn't a particularly useful moveset, but the weapon is pretty much one of the stronger greatswords. This is nothing. That's it. It is nothing. Like, I think an NPC might show up there later, but I haven't gone up there long enough to know. We'll go in here. Oh, the dogs. Yes, the dogs. How I love fighting dogs. Fucking Dark Souls and dogs is a bad mix. I just don't like the dogs in Dark Souls. They're bad. Can't get up there. That's a lie. You cannot get up there, as far as I know. That's a lie to me. I don't want to fucking make any wild statements anymore, because I know someone's gonna be pissed. That's a little hidey-hole. But before we do anything else in this area, we're going to activate a very special Pharos Lockstone. Kind of one of the more weirdly one of the more useless and useful Pharos Lockstones, because what it does is pretty much makes this area like 10 times easier. And what it does is it lights up the area, but it doesn't give you anything. It's you know, it's easy to see it as a waste of Pharos Lockstones, but it is actually an incredibly useful one. Which I could say I wish they did more of this more, and I will, because I do wish they did more of this. More Pharos Lockstones that are like useful environmentally. There are a few more that have like uses outside of just opening up an illusory wall, but for the most part, they're not particularly interesting. I think this is a miracle. Yeah, it is. It's a Mid Force and a large soul of Lost Undead. Now let's deal with these spider monkeys. This is where it becomes a challenge. If you don't turn that light on, these guys don't retreat into the little hidey hole, and their aggro range, and oh yeah, and they can do some damage. And bleeding, of course, hurts your stamina. Does a temporary decrease to your stamina meter, and so really bitches to fight. But because we turn the light on, they actually retreat from it, so we can actually get pretty safe relatively quickly. So this is why this is the main reason why it's super useful, because those spider monkeys would have been along our path there, but instead they're in here, all grouped together where we can get big swings on them. And that's why you need a sweep, is for scenarios like this where there's just like a shit ton of enemies. And another tattered cloth hood. We'll open this up and then move, because this is gonna happen. Do the thing. There we go. More of that too. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, we might. Oh, okay, close call. Get back out in the light. We can't sprint. Oh, well, no, we can sprint. It's just everything. Our stamina's reduced. If you get a bleeding effect, it's best to put your shield up and get away, or dodge, whichever takes less stamina for you. Because you can build yourself so that having your shield up takes less stamina than dodging, without as much risk. So, because that's really the biggest difference between dodging and blocking, is the risk involved, and the stamina takes, dodging takes, oh god. Dodging takes less stamina, and gets you away quicker. But blocking, oh shit, you shouldn't be going out this far. Blocking is less risky because you will take a hit. You'll always take a hit unless you run out of stamina. There's a lot of risk reward going on. We got a tattered cloth robe, which is utterly useless to us right now. Radiant life gem, and I think there's one more spider monkey, aka dark dweller, up here. Yeah, there is. And of course, that's their biggest problem. They inflict bleeding through your shield, which can be kind of a bitch. Although it does make sense. But first of all, there's one. This room is arguably the most important room in the game for two very important reasons. One of them is as follows. Oh, come on. Is this the one? Did I get the right one? I did! The great sword! Where is it? Where is my beauty? Oh, there it is. There it is. Unfortunately, I can't wield it right now. This is the great sword. This giant slab of metal is the weapon we'll be taking through the rest of the game. And when we can use it. It has S strength scaling. And it does the highest base physical damage, I think, of pretty much any strength weapon that isn't the deep, like, that doesn't require you to go over the soft cap. So it's hyper important to this playthrough. But first of all, before we keep going on that, let's talk with good old Gavlan.
Who are you?
Me.
I, Gavlan.
You, Gavlan.
Gavlan will, Gavlan deal.
Indeed you do.
Gavlan wants soul. Many, many soul.
So Gavlan is a germ, who we'll be meeting a bit more of later.
Want?
But unlike his brethren, he is a
With
traitor.
Gavlan, you will,
Friendler.
you deal.
And he is a good old friend because he sells two very important things. He does two very important things. First of all, he buys things off you, which can be great in certain situations. For example, we have 3 tattered hoods. We're not going to be selling anything just because there's no real point right now. You can, of course, trade rings. Nothing is really worth it. It's just good to have... whoa, Palestone, what the hell? Oh, Old Mundane Stone, I was going to say. And of course, he sells a Ring of Giants, which increases your poise, which means you can get staggered less. And he sells toxic things. So if you're... and poison can be a very useful path to go down. But not a path we're taking. So Gavlan is very important. Gavlan is a very good dealer. So, but I digress. We'll be moving on, and we'll be completing this area. We might not get to the boss in this first episode on this area, but that all depends. We'll see how I go. Oh. Bang! Backstab. The boss in this area is a really big disappointment, though. This area is oh, we might actually get to the boss. Let's just put this lever. Then I'll ring that bell. What bell? That bell. You can ring that bell with an arrow, and what that bell does is it activates the next part of the stage where the boss is, which is that ship. Ooh, it brings it in. So our next objective is that ship. Although there are a few things to grab before we get there. Ooh, yay fun. Jump down here, and there's a doorway that leads to a fight with 2 more spider monkeys. Although they are smart enough to give you fire arrows, so you can kind of do this at a range. Which we will be doing, actually, because fuck fighting these things. Get our short bow. Grab our fire arrows. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let our summoner again. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, of course, that is exactly why we're going with dex as well as strength, is because bows can be incredibly useful for getting out of, like, tougher situations. We got some tough cloth manchettes, and I believe there's an illusionary wall somewhere here. I could be wrong. But, I digress. We'll move on. Oh, here it is. Is this it? No, he's lying. Screw that guy. Okay, we'll head down here. I remember where the illusory wall is, I think. I remember where it is. This is how you open up one of the first shortcuts to the area, one of the more useful shortcuts. And here's an illusory wall. I remembered. You go in here, and it gets you access to a 3 firebombs and I believe a large titanite shard, which is pretty good this early on, considering it's pretty much your only access to them. This early on, there is a way to access them pretty much in the next area, but this early on, large titanite shards. This is the only way to get them. Go on. And we swang, and we go. Unfortunately, our friggin' sword seems to be running low here. There will be a summon sign here a bit later that we'll be grabbing. Lucatiel's summon sign. But for now, we're going to head back. We're going to get back through the area and grab some items with us. Get him. Yeah, he's dealt with. Now where's his friend? Or did we deal with him? No, here he is. Here he is. Now we have to be very careful in here. Oh, no, we got hit. So if a fire arrow hits us right now, we'll take extra high amounts of damage. Because we're all oiled up. And gross. Yeah, all oiled up. But I have hit this chest before. Because that dude, that Vagarian there attacked you. And that's repair powder. That's actually useful. We might be able to get through this area with that. Thanks to that repair powder, we might be able. Thanks to that repair powder, we might actually be able to get through this area without going resting at a bonfire. Now you can always backstab one of these dudes without triggering the rest, but they will trigger the second you hostile. But they're not hostile until then. Don't be concerned and rush into it. Get an idea for what you're fighting. At least I think they don't. I've never looked at them long enough to really check. We're gonna get the Brigand set here, which is another useful set for weight distribution, basically. Something you should do in this game a lot is weight distribute, which is basically you mix and match your armors to get a good weight to armor ratio. So we're going to be switching in the yeah, because these have fairly decent stats compared to the 9 set, but they're fairly light. So now it'll keep us nice and light. I press an X on the wall. Another lie. There's a lot of, like, I remember there being one here, but I might be crazy. There's a lot of people who do that, lie about illusory walls, and I think that's... Whoa! Jesus Christ! Oh, he just broke our guard. Now let's break his. Yeah. You'll actually know, these guys would actually be a lot harder with the fire longsword, because, I think they have a higher fire resistance, but thanks to our bastard sword and the high amount of damage, and I've done some weapon upgrading as well, which is why this sword's really good. It's not. We're going to be ditching it fairly quickly once we get our strength up to the value we want it. For now, I think next on our list is heading back through the shortcut here. We'll pop a humanity. We don't need it just yet, but we'll pop it and grab one of the better life gems because we won't need that. The better life gems are, you know, use them. I'd say use them whenever you don't want to use a regular life gem because they're actually less valuable. A regular life gem's always going to be good, but they sort of the old, like you don't really need the extra levels of life gems. That spider monkey. Let's see. This is why the light's useful. We're basically going to clear out the area and talk to an NPC and check for another illusory wall before we go, and it'll have another ring that's actually pretty vital to us before we go and grab Lucatiel and go for the boss. So, yeah. I'm probably only going to do that this recording session, so, you know. Where are we? Here we are. This is where we need to be. Now, this room is death. This is the death room. You want to backstab this dude. All of those fucking bases, all of them, every single one, holds poison. So your best option is to take these guys out as far away from them as possible, and grab, if I have some. I don't, which is unfortunate. I was going to say grab some throwing knives, But we can use a bow or a crossbow. I think we have some crossbow. No, we don't have any bolts. We do have some iron arrows that we got, so we are good. So we just get our bow, whip it out, and just let the poison go away, and then we grab a ring. Throwing knife and flame butterfly. I don't think we need to do... Oh, yeah, those ones are fine. We don't need the bow for that. We just get rid of the bow, and we're back here. I'll just open up this chest. I think this spews poison, I can't remember. No, I was wrong. But it does give us an Estus Flask Shard, and of course... you! I actually got the lizard back in Forest of Fallen Giants, but now I got this one. And it gave us another Titanite Shard and 2 more large... a large Titanite Shard and 2 more Titanite Shards. And we get a Life Gem, some Fading Souls. Fading Souls are worthless, they're just 50 soul redeemables, so yeah. And we get another great ring, the Royal Soldier's Ring. Put that on there, and boom, our weight's reduced. We do less weight. This will allow us to keep our weight under, despite the heavy weight of the Great Sword, which is what we'll be going for. The Ultra Great Sword, the Great Sword. As you can see, it's 22 versus 6 we have right now, which is why we're going to be pumping more stats into our weight things. I don't think I'll actually talk to the NPC, because he comes later. He's a sorcery trainer, so he comes a bit later. We'll just get on to the boss and finish this video up nice and quick. A nice short video, or I don't know how long it's going. Like I said last episode, I don't actually time these things. So let's go grab Lucatiel, because she's going to be useful for the run-up, because the run-up can be a bitch sometimes. Lucatiel, where are you at? Here we are, Lucatiel of Mira. Lucatiel is like my favorite NPC in this game, because she's one of the few that has a plot that's really good, while the rest who have plots are just sort of meh or okay or total crap. Her and Lycia really have the best like sort of overarching plots, and Lycia isn't extremely interesting. I mean, you know, there's no Solaire, there's no Sigmire, there's none of that in 2 like there was in 1. Sigmire and Solaire were NPCs from 1 who were like really cool guys. Probably see more on them if I ever get to that. And these guys are bitches. You can knock them off if you just swing right. You have to be very careful though, because Lucatiel might swing and kill herself accidentally. Best way to do it is that. You have a good poise break weapon, and see, that's the NPC over there. He's Carhelion of the Fold. He's just a sorceries dealer who isn't much use to us right now, because we're only using sorceries for sort of a power thing for bosses. So sorceries aren't incredibly useful to us right now, especially since our int is nowhere near enough to talk to, let alone use sorceries. I don't think we have any attunement slots right now. Now, of course, she grabs aggro. That's her. That's really the NPC summons biggest use is grabbing aggro, because they're not going to do wildly huge amounts of damage or anything. So yeah, they're really only useful for aggro grabbing and, you know, keeping the boss's attention or an enemy's attention away from you. Not much else. But let us continue onward. And we're almost done No Man's Wharf, actually, because we've gotten all the really important stuff we needed to get, and the boss is right here. Arguably one of the weaker bosses of the game, the Flexile Sentry. Cool design. I really like his design, but if you stay on the mace side, he's one of the easier bosses. Like, and he doesn't have a whole lot of health. We're doing really good damage. His maces are easily tearing off. The swords are a bit harder to deal with, I will admit, but not much harder. You know, he's still easy, even with the swords. And although the swords for his boss soul are better a weapon to redeem, I had a train of thought, but that comes later. We haven't even talked about boss soul trading yet. Now, we're going to get away. We're going to Estus up. Unfortunately, Lucatiel isn't having too much aggro right now. But we're almost done, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, and something that I think was really interesting about Dark Souls 2 is in order to progress an NPC's plotline, you have to, or at least the NPCs who do have plotlines, you have to summon them and have them survive. Which I think is actually really interesting and sort of like adds an extra thing sort of the whole what's twos. It's Flex Soul Sentry Soul, and we got a nice stack of souls. And we're going to get another pretty decent item up here. And move on to the next area and end the video there. You can totally miss this item, it's real easy, but you shouldn't, because it's a good item. Yeah, I've noticed that people did miss the item first way through. And the Pyromancy Flame and a Fireball spell. Incredibly useful Pyromancy. More so in Dark Souls 1, but still fairly useful. But for now, we're headed to the Lost Bastille. Which is our next area, of course. We've pretty much cleared all the beginning areas. Those are just messages and bloodstains that are weird now. So now our only priority, the only thing we really have, we have a few things to do back in Majula, so we'll go back there and end the episode, and but just talk a bit more about leveling up and a bit more about the Great Sword, hopefully, if I can get it up to 28 in time. I doubt I could, because I'll talk a bit more about caching boss souls and such, but for now... Oh, Jesus, that was close. For now, we're just going to head through the opening area of Lost Bastille. Lost Bastille is an alright area. It's one of those areas that's just sort of okay. It's kind of interesting visually, it's kind of interesting gameplay-wise, not particularly amazing in either facet. This elevator's cool, I guess. Ooh. Oh, and you saw that item there. We're actually going to be going back for that. Requires us to be right. Oh. Camera isn't really suited for corridors in Dark Souls. It's more suited for like a small squares like this. Not really up close stuff. Hopefully we press that button, right? Gotta get out the door. Let me let it go down. This is a really cool thing. I wish more games did this. Have it so you can only access something from the roof of an elevator. Something that you wouldn't really think about otherwise. Oh, my frame rate's going weirdly good. Usually it dies. Which side? Here. I'll just grab an item. Repair powder and scimitar. Scimitars are alright weapon. You start with it in the swordsman path, but yeah, it's alright. That's about it. Probably good for dex builds, but not for our purposes. Okay. Yeah, fine. And so we'll just get to the first bonfire and then head back to Majula. I think we'll end the video there. Yeah. Officially have reached 5 episodes. I suppose I'll talk about update schedules. Right now, as of the recording of this, which could be weeks, I don't know, I'm releasing 1 episode a week. But as I build up a stockpile of episodes, I want to try releasing 2 a week or even 3. So just leave in the comments if you prefer that, or 1 a week or whatever, because I'm trying to get this, as much of this done. I'm not going to get it finished, but as much of this done as I can before Bloodborne comes out, because me and Panda are doing a Bloodborne LP, which should be pretty interesting. We're going to do a few things. We're going to pop all our souls so we can level up really high. And originally you couldn't stack this if you had stacks. And we're going to pop 1 of our boss souls, because 2 of our boss souls that we have right now are useful to us later on in that we can redeem them. Very good weapons at a special vendor inside the Lost Bastille, actually. And 1 that's a bit later on. But we're keeping the Dragon Rider and Pursuer souls, but we're tagging the Flex Soul Sentry soul for its souls. You can consume them, or you can make weapons. I would not suggest consuming them in your first playthrough. Your first playthrough, I would suggest,
Is that a shard?
I would suggest, you know, redeeming them and playing through all the weapons and seeing what you like and what you don't like, and then deciding what ones you'll cache on your next run.
To see hope.
Because otherwise, you're just wasting
Faint
an opportunity to try a really good weapon or a really good spell. But we'll talk more about that later. First, we'll upgrade our Estus Flasks. So we now have 5 Estus Flasks. 5 uses out of our Estus Flask. And we'll level up. Now, we want to focus on now, because the weapon we want to use is a strength weapon. We want to focus on our strength. And the hope... Oh, we only need 2 more levels. Sweet. But we won't pump that straight up, because we need to pump more into Vit as well. So we'll put 1 point in Vit. And... Yep. Okay. And what else do we have to do? We'll start upgrading the greatsword now, just so when we start using it, it's going to be a lot more useful to us. Because right now the bastard sword we're using now is upgraded enough for our purposes, and we have plenty of materials to get this pretty high up there. But we don't have the soul, actually. Whoops. But largely, we're pretty much done in
I'll be
Jewel.
around if you make it back.
So I guess I'll head up here and end the old episode. So else to talk about, I suppose. Next time around, we'll be going through the Lost Bastille and taking on the Ruined Sentinel boss at the very least, hopefully. But until then, see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good one.